We are back with 5 data packs for Minecraft 1.20. Quick little recap of what this is. On screen you'll see who created the data pack and what version it is for, and then the downloads will be linked in the description in the order I showcased them. The ones in today's video are not really anything too major, they are just ones that tweak the game slightly to make the game a little bit better. So the first one requires us to be at an ocean, because the buried treasure map, if we find one within a shipwreck, they have been slightly tweaked. So I found a ship, and if we head inside, there should be a buried treasure map, which there is. So if we take this, the change comes when you locate the treasure. So let's quickly head to this one. It seems to be quite a distance away. So we're now loading in the map, and I think the buried treasure is on this island right here. If we head, yes it is. And the change right here is that right there. Instead of having to use F3 to find the 9x9 coordinate, or having to dig around until you find the buried treasure map, this data pack adds a random X. You have to be holding the map for it to show though, so as you can see, if I remove the map, the X does disappear. But if you're holding the map, and it does work in your offhand as well, it will show you an X, and if I dig below this X, here is the chest. So this just saves a lot of time having to dig around this area until you find the buried treasure map. But it's also good because inside of the vanilla game, you can use like this coordinate, and that coordinate right there, if that's 9x9, you'll see that is where the treasure is. But it also is useful if you don't know that trick. And then you can open the buried treasure and take all the loot. So it's just a minor tweak, but I think it's a really useful one because it will save a lot of time. And it makes the buried treasure maps feel a little bit more like you're hunting for the loot rather than having to dig around and ruin your terrain. It does also always show though. You can see that although I've opened this chest, the X will still show. So it doesn't disappear as long as you're holding the map. And if we break the chest, we'll see that it does also still show. The second data pack we're going to cover brings us to a swamp biome, and that is because this is the place you find lily pads. Inside this data pack, you can place down light blocks on top of lily pads. But there is one note, this doesn't work with ones that are naturally generated. These ones were placed by world generation, and I cannot place anything on top of these. When I try, it doesn't let me. But if I was to place my own lily pad down, and then I was to click a lantern on top of it, you can see the lantern is placed on top. And this makes for really cool decoration inside of lakes, rivers. One thing to note though, the lantern doesn't have a hitbox. So for example, I can walk straight through the lantern. The lily pad does still have a collision, so you can walk on these like normal. And you can also place candles on them, up to 4 like you can with a normal block. And you can also light them with a flint and steel. If I click the flint and steel on the candles, you can see that they will be lit. And they do give a light level. If I go here, you can see my client light for the block is currently 11. And you can simply just break them to get the blocks back. If I break this one, you'll see I get the lily pad and then also the candles back. I think the best possible way this can be used is by using like green candles or pink candles to make it look like a stem or a flower. So if I pick block the lily pad, that one I can't pick block, there we go. If I pick block the lily pad and place like a green candle or some pink candles, it kind of looks like a flower is growing out of the top, which I think is really cool. So this works with torches, redstone torches, soul torches, lanterns, soul lanterns, and then every type of candle. The third data pack we're going to cover is a change to grass paths, or I think they're called dirt paths now. And this is the fact that when you walk on them, you move at a higher speed. And this makes them a lot more useful because you can use them in areas where you want the player to be able to move a lot faster. You can definitely notice the speed difference between the two, and it just makes getting around places a lot quicker. But this doesn't only affect players, this does also affect horses. So let's quickly just tame this horse. The speed difference isn't as noticeable on horses, but when I go on the paths, you can see that we do get a speed boost, and it does make the horse a lot faster. But I think the best way to show this off is by a pig, because this does also work for when you ride a pig. So if I was to throw this pig down and jump on it, you can see the speed that the pig goes is that, and if I go on the path, you can see the speed has been increased quite a bit. I think the speed increase is multiplied by 0.5, so it's not like huge, but it is definitely a big increase when you want to get from place to place. And you can definitely notice the speed difference when I'm not riding the pig, because the pig is chasing this carrot and stick way faster than a pig should be. The fourth data pack we're going to cover adds one of the creative only items into the game, and that is the light block. You can craft them with 3 glass blocks like so, a copper ingot in the bottom, and then any solid light block, so things like shroom lights, glowstone, frog lights, and that gets you 4 of the light blocks for every craft you make. Now inside of survival mode, these are consumed when you place them, but these are basically invisible blocks, so when you place one down, it has a default light level of 15. Now, you can run this command to change the value of it. So if we change this to 8, that'll change, or 6, I didn't mean to, you can see that changes the light level to 6. So these are really useful for messing around with your base and controlling the light level while stopping monsters from spawning, but also having a really good ambience to your base. Now if I was to go in survival mode, you can see that they are still highlighted when you are holding the block, but if I let go of the block does disappear. And it doesn't seem like you can break them in survival mode. Also, another thing, while in survival mode, you can't see the light level they give, so that is something to also take note. The best way to remove them, if you don't want them there in survival mode anymore, is just replace them with a solid block. I have placed that block there, and if I break it, you can now see the light block is disappeared. The final data pack we're going to cover makes some changes to the Wandering Trader, and I think they are really cool. So when a trader spawns, they have a 50% chance to do something unique. This can be controlled with a config the data pack does also add. So when they spawn, there is a 50% chance that when you click on them, they will turn into an illusioner, as the illusioner is cloning itself to be the Wandering Trader. And I think that is a really cool way to make the illusioners into the game, as then you can find them naturally, but it also makes the Wandering Trader a little bit more like weary of. Now it's not always the chance, but it does also seem like you can notice them, because they have like this dark like particle when they turn into an illusioner. We have got unlucky at the moment, and to activate them you have to just click on them as if you are going to trade with them. But yeah, this one isn't a illusioner, this is a normal Wandering Trader, because they don't have the particles at their feet. Now the reason I like this is because 1, it makes hunting for Wandering Traders a little bit more useful. 2, it adds the illusioner into survival Minecraft, and although these don't have a good drop, they're quite a unique mob to fight, because they clone themselves, they give you blindness, and with the config this data pack adds, you can change the value. So if you don't want it to be 50%, you want it to be 25%, you can make it so it's 25%. You can also make it so it's 10% if you want them to be a little bit more rarer. But we will now see this Wandering Trader sadly die because the illusioners do hunt them. But I really do like this data pack, and I think it's definitely a cool and unique one. And I've not really seen anything like it that makes the illusioners spawn in this way. But anyway, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed the 5 data packs I showcased, then do let me know. If you have any recommendations, then drop them in my Discord, as I do check them out. And let me know what one you liked out of the 5 that I showcased. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.